I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. My name is Sayan Katana and welcome to this video. I assume you're here for the exact same reason which I'm here, and that is because it seems like AI art has taken the internet by storm in the last few weeks. You've probably seen it all over social media and most recently on John Oliver's Last Week Tonight show. It's truly impressive the rate at which AI art is growing in popularity, and this is the reason why I wanted to create this video. I wanted to create a full beginner's guide for anyone who's interested in starting with AI art or alternatively just wants to learn a little bit more about the subject matter. This guide is going to be focused on MidJourney AI, which I believe to be one of the better AI image generators available to us at this point in time. As I start to scroll through this page, I want you to understand that every single image that you see has been fully created by MidJourney AI and has had zero tampering whatsoever from third-party software such as Photoshop or Illustrator or anything like that. Everything has been taken directly from the MidJourney AI bot and synced to the MidJourney website, so whatever it has output is exactly what you see on this page. In my opinion, AI art has received so much attention because it allows creative people, which I assume that you are just like me, given that we're all here watching this video, to express themselves where they might have not been able to do so in the past. I've personally tried to learn Photoshop and other tools for digital art creation, but I find that the barriers to entry are very high, and it takes months and years to develop to a point where you can create decent art. This time frame is simply not compatible with my life schedule, and I assume that is the case for a lot of people. AI art introduces a new art form, the art of working collaboratively with artificial intelligence to convert the thoughts in your head into text prompts, which the AI can then interpret and produce an image out of. The art form here is to understand how the AI thinks and be able to communicate and direct it effectively to achieve the end result that you desire. We live in a truly amazing time where you can work on creative expression with your own AI buddy. As you may have already noticed, MidJourney is extremely diverse in its ability to create different art styles, both realistic and artistic, both character designs and environmental designs. Unlike standard digital art, MidJourney does not require supercomputers to produce imagery. All image processing is done on MidJourney's cloud, and the end results are produced in Discord. This means that you're able to not only create at home on your computer, but also on the move on your phone, which is truly mind-blowing. With all that being said, let's begin our tutorial. So what better place to start than MidJourney's homepage? This is what it looks like, and the URL for that is midjourney.com/home, and I'll be posting that in the description below so it's easier for you to click through. Ultimately, when you get here, you're faced with two calls to action: join the beta and sign in. Join the beta allows you to join their Discord server. This is where the bot is. For those of you that don't know, Discord is similar to Slack or similar to Microsoft Teams, but for anything but work. So it's used for gaming, it's used for community building, and now it's used for AI art as well. So you don't actually need to download anything that MidJourney has created, but simply join the Discord server and the bot is hosted on there. I'll also post the link for the Discord sign up. This is what it looks like, discord.com/register. You literally just have to fill in your details here. You get a verification email, approve that, and you are in. Once your Discord registration has been completed, you can sign into Discord either via their web application or you can download their desktop application. Once you've signed into either of those, just click Join the Beta on MidJourney's homepage, and that's going to join the server for you. Do keep in mind that there is an in-between step which requires you to authorize access for MidJourney to your Discord. Just click Authorize. If this is your first time navigating Discord, it's very simple. In the first column on the left, you have all the servers that you're currently part of, including the MidJourney server. Once you click on that, you're going to have all the channels which are under the MidJourney server. At the very top, you have admin channels or info channels, which hold a lot of documentation, they hold a lot of useful links, frequently asked questions, and most importantly, in my opinion, you have the announcements, which provide updates or information on upcoming updates to MidJourney, upcoming FAQ sessions, and all kinds of different things. Under those admin channels, you have the support channels. The support channels are the places that you would go if you have any issues running MidJourney. I've had to use those a couple of times, and I can tell you that the turnaround on any issues that I've had has been extremely quick, where I've received answers and solutions to the issues that I had within a couple of minutes of raising them. And that is because on the right side, you see all the members of the server. You have a lot of moderators and a lot of community members which are very active and will gladly help you out with any issues. Next, we have the newcomer rooms. These are the channels within which you're going to create your very first art with MidJourney AI. If this is the first time that you're using MidJourney, you're going to receive automatically linked with your Discord account 25 image generations for free. These 25 images are meant to allow you to test out the power of MidJourney AI and see if this is something that you will find interesting and something that you would like to do long term. Once those 25 images have been used up, unfortunately, you won't be able to get any more free images, and you will have to opt in for one of 2 subscription models which they have on their website, and I will go over those in detail a little bit later into this video. But for now, let us jump into one of these newbies channels and try creating our first image. In order to begin the creation of our first image, all we have to do is scroll down to the text box and type /imagine. /imagine is going to create this pop-up with the little prompt word in the darker gray box. You would either click on that or hit enter, either works, and that's going to bring the prompt text box down. Now we just need to fill in the box what we want to see. In this case, we'll begin off simple, and I'll start with a dragonfly. Hit enter, and that's going to start loading. So as you can see, this is our prompt, and it became colored in yellow. So it's colored in yellow for us to notice because it's at me. So my name is Cyan Katana, it's at Cyan Katana, and that is why this box is yellow, for us to be able to see it clearer while all the other boxes are gray. As you can see, it's working its way up to 100, and once it gets to 100, the images will be ready. We can already start to see the dragonfly forming and different ideas that the AI is playing with, and once that is complete, it's going to push that box all the way down because it technically sends us a new message. So it's going to disappear from our site here, and it's going to tag us all the way at the bottom of this feed. We'll just need to give it a couple more seconds, but we can already see some amazing results coming out of here. Perfect. Now that it has loaded, you just need to scroll down as it will appear at the very bottom, and you see that this is the result that we got. From the very first try, we've actually received a very nice aesthetic, a very nice designed dragonfly, and the important thing to see is that it always presents you with 4 different images. MidJourney AI is going to assign numbers to each image that you see in this 4-image grid. Top left is number 1, top right is number 2, bottom left is number 3, and bottom right is number 4. And it has done that because it wants to present you with 4 different art directions that you might want to take, and you can basically communicate back with the AI to let it know, look, I really like number 2, for example, or I really like number 3, or maybe you don't like any of them. And the way that you do that is if you click out of the picture, you're going to see that here we have V1, V2, V3, V4, and this stands for version or variation. So for example, if you really liked number 2, you could click V2, and that's going to create 4 more variations that look similar to this particular quadrant or this particular image. If, for example, you didn't like any of them, you could just click this button, that's the reroll button, and it's going to create 4 different ideas that are unrelated to each of these boxes. So once again, from V1 to V4, you're basically telling the AI, look, I really like the direction that picture number 1 is going, for example. Please create me 4 more pictures or 4 more images that match that style. I want to explore this idea. Or if you don't like any of them, you would just click reroll. Now, that being the case, let us scroll down a little bit, and we clicked V2 in this case, and we clicked reroll. Let us see if we got 4 images that are similar to this second quadrant, and if we got 4 new images. Hopefully everything has loaded, and it has not yet. So, oh, this one has. Perfect. So this is the variations. Do you see how similar it is to the variation V2 that we clicked above? It basically produced 4 images with the same color template and just playing with the dragonfly a little bit. So something which you should be very careful about is that when you start creating your image, especially at the very beginning, if you do not like the sense of art direction of any of the 4 pictures in the grid, just hit reroll. Because once you do that, it will give you 4 completely new ideas, which hopefully we'll be able to demonstrate a little bit further down. It's still loading up. So give me a second, I'll crop that video, and once those 4 variations are completed, I'll bring us back in. Now our 4 rerolled images have loaded, and we can see that there is some slight differences here. This one is completely new. I don't think that we saw that in the first quadrant that was presented to us, and so is this one. This is quite similar to what we had before, and this we did have similarities here. But ultimately we have 2 more art directions that we can take with V2 and V3. So keep that in mind. If you're not satisfied with the art direction, just keep on hitting reroll until you find something that you're happy to work with, because as you saw, once you start going down a certain path, the variations are very small, and these variations are typically small things rather than the entire composition of the image itself. Before moving on to the next examples, I want us to move away from these noisy newcomer rooms, which are quite suitable for your 25 image trial, but once you become a paying subscriber, you can either DM, direct message the MidJourney bot directly, or even better, you can create your own server. You'd click add a server, create my own, for me and my friends, choose a name, and then click create. For the purpose of this video, I have already created this server called the Zen Den, and I'm going to add the MidJourney bot to it. In order to do that, you just go to the right side where all the members of the MidJourney server are listed. You click on MidJourney bot, you click add to server, you select which server you want to add it to, in this case the Zen Den, and click continue. Simply authorize, and that should be now added to our server. As you can see, in this server we have Cyan Katana, which is myself, and the MidJourney bot. Now that we have our private space to create, let us explore some of the settings that MidJourney has for us before jumping into the next examples. You can access the settings menu by typing /settings, hitting enter, and your screen will look similar to mine. The very first line refers to which version of MidJourney AI we're currently using. At the time of recording this video, the latest MidJourney version is MJ3 or MidJourney 3, and that is selected by default. Normally, the new versions produce better images, but you might want to play around with older versions if you're trying to achieve a certain style which the current MidJourney version is not delivering on. You may also notice that we have 2 options on the right of version 3, which are short-term beta versions that the team is testing with the community for a limited amount of time. This will likely become the next version of MidJourney or MJ4, and we will look at the differences between MJ3 and the MJ beta capabilities later in this guide. For now, we will stick with MJ3. On the next line, we see 4 different options for style. What style determines is how much creative freedom do you want to provide the AI with. For example, if you have a very specific idea in mind and you have written out a very long, very detailed text prompt, you would like to go with style low, because it will ensure that the AI is going to try to stick as close as possible to the wording that you have provided. If on the other hand, you want to explore different ideas and really see how creative the AI can become, then you would go with style very high. For this video, at least for now, we will stick with style medium. Next, we have 3 different options for quality, which is pretty self-explanatory. We have fast mode and relaxed mode, and this becomes relevant when you start using paid subscriptions. So when you're using a paid subscription, you only get a certain number of fast mode hours. So for the most part, you'll find yourself using relaxed mode, and when you're trying to maybe work a little bit quicker, or if you're trying to upscale to the max, which basically means make the most detailed photo possible, you would enable fast mode for that period of time. But do keep in mind again that your time on fast mode is limited, and I do believe that you might get billed if you overrun that, so make sure by default that you are sitting on relaxed mode. These regular, light and beta upscales, we'll see all of these later on, but I believe they are included anyway, so you do not necessarily need to tick them here. They automatically get included in the upscale option, which we'll demonstrate in a moment. Finally, you have two different modes, which is the public mode and the private mode. Public mode means that every image that you're going to create is going to get synced to the website, and everyone who searches up your profile will be able to see every single image that you create. If you want to go for private mode, you could click that, but then you need to pay an extra amount of about $20 a month to keep all of your photos private so that they do not sync to the website automatically. Personally, I just pay my membership and I have not opted in for this option yet, but I may consider it in the future. Now that we have gone over the MidJourney AI settings, I want to highlight that there is a lot more capabilities that MidJourney can execute, but these are taken in the forms of commands that you add on the back of your prompt. We'll demonstrate a lot of those in just a second, and others in upcoming videos where I'll do deep dives and see the differences between different commands. In our second example, we are going to recreate our dragonfly from earlier by adding a few extra commands and a few extra prompts so we can understand how the bot actually works. Before doing that, I want to show you what, in my opinion, is a great practice to compartmentalize your work. You can do that given that you have your own server by clicking on Create Channel, and I create one channel per work that I do. So in this case, I will create a Dragonfly channel, and in this text channel, we will start creating the Dragonfly from earlier. This time, we are going to add a few extra details. Again, we begin by typing /imagine, hitting enter, and writing Dragonfly. But this time, maybe we won't specify what color it is. So we could say a golden dragonfly, and then we could maybe specify where it's flying. Flying above the clouds. Normally dragonflies do not fly above the clouds, but let's see what the AI gives us here. And we'll click enter. MidJourney never ceases to amaze me. Look at these results. All four of these images are absolutely incredible, and we need to decide which one of these we want to take further. I really like the composition of this one, this one, this one, and this one. I guess I like all of them. So let us maybe explore a few more ideas, see if they're gonna go along the same lines, because as I mentioned earlier, if you decide to go in a certain direction, for example, number one, it's not going to make big variations. This is pretty much what the composition is going to look like. So if you have a very particular idea in mind, do not be afraid to re-roll the images. We have now received our next 4 images. So now we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different concepts just with one click of a button. If you're not satisfied with any of these, in your case, you could just continue re-rolling these images until you see something that you like. But in my case, I'm quite satisfied with number 1 and number 2 here. So if you remember, this is V1, this is V2, V3, and V4. I'll create a variation of 1, so I'll click V1, and I'll create a variation of 2 as well. So I'll click V2, and I'll give it a second to load. We have now received our results from V1 and V2. As you can see, the similarities are huge between the sets of 4, so these look quite similar to each other, and these look quite similar to each other. Now, I think overall I might prefer these a little bit more, especially number 1. Number 1 has almost got the dragonfly right, so I'll try to reroll version 1 here. So I'll click V1, And for the one above, maybe I'm not going to re-roll anything. I'm sure with more iterations it will start getting the dragonfly correct, but at this point in time it's a bit of a mess, and for the interest of keeping this tutorial as concise as possible, let us stick with just re-rolling V1 over here and see the results. And I can already see a couple of amazing images being produced here, and I think we might have a final product almost. No, I think we need to iterate one more time, so I think I'll go with version 2 on this one, even though the clouds here are really interesting. But let us go with, or maybe even V4. I'll go with V4, I'll go with V1, and I'll go with V2 as well. Do not be afraid to try all different variations and see which path it takes you. Let's give it a second to load again. Our requests have now been completed. Before we go on to review them, I want to comment on the fact that I started 3 concurrent jobs at the same time. This for me is the sweet spot that I have found, because anything more than 3 jobs at the same time, the MidJourney is going to start creating a long queue, and once you start getting a queue, the net result on performance, on how quickly your images are produced, actually starts to go down. So do keep that in mind. Now let us see the results that we got. So this is the first 4 images that have been iterated. This looks quite good. It looks like it is almost ready. I like this one as well. So V1 and V4 here. On this one, V2 is quite nice, but still I don't necessarily think any of them are close to a final product. They will require a few more variations, although I really like the clouds in the background. And finally, we have a few more, of which again those might require a few more iterations. So I think the closest product then is V1 and V4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and upscale V1. Upscale is basically taking this little resolution image and trying to increase it in terms of resolution. Typically you have to be as close as possible to a finished product when upscaling, because the more room for error that the AI has, the worse the result of the upscale is going to be. So never be afraid to do a few more iterations and then go with one of the later iterations which everything looks crisp. But again, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll go with U1, which means upscale. Again, similar to the V's, U1, U2, U3, U4. Now do keep in mind that upscales do take a little bit longer to produce, so unlike the variations which take I'd say 20-30 seconds, this may take up to a minute or even 2 minutes at times. So I'll pause the video and be back in a second. We have now received the upscale version of our image. You can see that there is a few things which are still not in place, so this might require a few more iterations. But what we could also try is to redo the upscale. So we have the option to light upscale redo and beta upscale redo. And you understand the differences between the two when we see the results in just a second. We have now received our light scale redo as well as our beta redo, and these are the 2 results that we got. Still a little bit of work to be done, but with a few more iterations we should be there. For example, this one is already looking quite nice and clean. Would have to get rid of this on the side, but you can achieve that by basically just creating a few more iterations. In this case I'll click 3. We won't go through with it, but those 3 variations, they'll start creating different images that look very similar to this, and some of those variations are going to strip away this little kind of spider web looking thing that we have here. Once you achieve that, you would upscale that result and that would be your finished product. We have now completed 2 examples using MidJourney version 3. For our third and final example, we're going to take things a step further and make everything a lot more interesting. We're going to change 3 things in particular. First of all, our prompt is going to be a lot more detailed, in that way serving as an example when you start creating your own digital art with this AI, and you can understand how you can go about writing more complicated prompts. The second thing is we're going to include our first command. We're going to change the aspect ratio of the photo. Instead of being square, it's going to be in a wide shot. And then finally, instead of using MidJourney version 3, we're going to use the test MidJourney version, which I'm sure is going to be rolled out sometime soon. Instead of MidJourney version 3, maybe they'll call it MidJourney version 4. But I want to demonstrate the power and the photorealism that this MidJourney test version achieves. And this is what you're signing up for when you're signing up for MidJourney. Sure, like any AI, like any technology, it still has its imperfections, but behind the scenes, MidJourney is so evolved that there's a lot to look forward to in the coming weeks. And I believe that that new version of MidJourney should be released in the coming weeks. But again, this is pure speculation and of what I've seen around the Discord, so do not hold me accountable to that. All right, let's begin by changing the settings from MidJourney version 3 to the test MidJourney photo. We do that by typing /settings, hit the enter button, and now we're going to select MJ test photo. Now this is done, it's added --test P, and now we go back to our standard command imagine. Now I have already done some work on this character before recording this video, so I have written out this prompt, and I want you to notice how detailed yet very clear and simple it is. Tanned female with long green hair, happy and determined face. So these two obviously refer to the looks of the character that we're trying to create, as well as some of these wearing white scarf, wearing white crop top, character design. And then we have portrait shot, close-up shot. This is basically determining how the composition of the image is going to be. Then we have a couple of descriptions for the background, which is we want a desert background with a sandstorm preferably. And over here we have some extra adjectives which we want to be applied to the photo if possible, to the image if possible, and all of these are trying to achieve kind of a warm environment and really photo accurate or photorealistic look. So this is the way that I have done this prompt, and if you want to explore more prompts, the best way is to visit the MidJourney website, and towards the end of this video, after this example, I'll show you how you can check some of those. But in the meantime, we have now changed the MJ version to the test photo. We have written out our prompt, and the only thing that we are missing is that we want to add our first command. The way that we do that is by writing --, so you write 2 dashes, and then in this case, we're going to use AR. AR stands for aspect ratio, and you are able to determine different aspect ratios. In this case, we're going to create 3:2, which is basically a wide shot compared to the square shots that we had. So as you can see, this is going to be a bit more next level than the previous 2 examples, but I hope it gives you a clear idea of how you can go about creating your first images with MidJourney AI, which may be a little bit more advanced as such. We're going to hit enter, and we are going to wait for this to load. This is the first image that we have received back following our prompt, and let us address the obvious first, that half of the head is missing. Now this is an issue that the MidJourney AI team have already identified, and they know what is causing it, so they're working on a fix. But from a user perspective, what is causing this issue is whenever we entered the aspect ratio command and we change it away from a square and into something different, like in this case 3:2, sometimes the main object or the main character tends to be misplaced. But as I mentioned, this is something that MidJourney AI team have already identified what is causing it and are going to roll out a fix. The next thing that my attention is drawn to is how photorealistic this image is. Compared to MidJourney 3 and the example with the dragonfly, this is very photo accurate. You can see the face. I mean, there's certain things that can be improved, but overall, from a first try, this is an extremely impressive result. You may have noticed that here we have received only 1 image instead of 4 like before, but this is because we're using the MidJourney beta version instead of MidJourney 3. Now I have already went ahead and produced the final product. Obviously here I was not happy with the composition, so I went ahead and re-rolled, and I did it quite a few times. Here I really liked the kind of the composition of the image, let's say, but I didn't like that the scarf is green because the character that I had in mind was wearing a white scarf. This one had a weird tint to it, a little bit too yellow for my liking. This one was just extremely creepy. Let's ignore that one like it never happened. We got an image and a half here, and you see I wasn't happy with any of these results, so I just kept on re-rolling until I went to, let's see where that is, until I received this image. Now this image, although we had a little bit of white in the hair, I still really like the composition. I like the colors. I like the fact that the scarf was white. I did like the facial expression as well, and I went ahead and made a few variants. You're going to see in these variants pretty much everything is the same, but the face is changing a little bit. So MidJourney is altering a little bit of details, and that's why I mentioned if you're not necessarily happy with your initial composition, keep on re-rolling, because it's not going to make big differences except in the details of the image, like the face in this particular case. And I finally got this image which I liked very much, and I went ahead and created an upscale. So as you remember, the U stands for upscale, which basically takes this image and blows it to the maximum proportion that it can, which in our case we received this, or maximum resolution that we can. I think this image truly speaks for itself. Just a few words and a few clicks of a mouse, and MidJourney AI was able to produce this super photorealistic image. Yes, it is not perfect, but most art is not perfect. It's meant to have a little bit for the imagination to interpret what the artist is trying to deliver, and in this case obviously the AI is the artist. The matter of fact is that MidJourney AI is going to become more and more powerful in the coming weeks and the coming months. Yes, this is only in beta at this point in time, but it already reveals the true potential that MidJourney AI has, and I'm personally going to be here for it. I believe MidJourney unlocks my creative side. It allows me to express myself creatively through art, and I truly believe that this is something that is here to stay, and it's going to become more and more proficient, diverse, and capable to work collaboratively with human beings to create images like these. I hope the last 3 examples, which we have now completed, are going to make your journey with MidJourney a little bit easier. Next, we're going to go back to the MidJourney website, where I want to show you the main reasons which I think you should be using the MidJourney website for, and how you can improve your AI art browsing the MidJourney website. Once again, we are on the MidJourney homepage, and this time instead of clicking join the beta, we're going to click sign in. That's going to prompt you with a login box. You just provide login details for your Discord and then click login. Once you hit enter with your details, this is the page that you see. You just need to authorize access for the MidJourney bot to your Discord. You click authorize. That's a very common thing, by the way, so you do not need to worry about it. And then this is what you're going to see. You find yourself using the MidJourney website for 3 main reasons. The first of which will be viewing of images, both your own images and the community's images. Under the home feed, this is essentially your profile. All the images that you create in your Discord using the MidJourney AI will automatically be synced and uploaded to this page. So you're able to favorite your favorite images, you're able to download others, and ultimately it's a great point of reference because every single image generated is uploaded on here. Something to keep in mind is that this page is not private, meaning that anyone who has your username will be able to search you up and find the images that you have generated. Looking at the community showcase section, you can view the images of other people within the community, and those are typically the trending images at the current time. I find this to be a great place, a great resource for inspiration, because you can see how other people are using the AI and pushing the AI in certain directions, and what the AI is really able to achieve in the creation of some images. I also find it extremely useful because people post their prompts, or their prompts are actually automatically uploaded along with their images, and you can see the way that they work with words to achieve the images and the styles that they do. So if you're looking for some inspiration or a sense of direction or just something to play around with, this is a great place to view it. Once you become a paying member, if you decide to do so, you'll also be able to click on the individual images, and once you do that, you'll be able to see their entire workflow. So you'll be able to see previous generations that were created before this final product was produced. So you can almost follow, generation by generation all the way up in the beginning and see the decisions that the person using the AI has made, and also the way that the AI has iterated generation on generation. So if you become a paying subscriber, I highly recommend playing around and looking around through the gallery, through the community showcase section, because it is an absolutely valuable resource which will help you learn and understand how the algorithm works better. As I mentioned earlier, the art form here, I think to a big degree, is being able to understand how you need to communicate with the algorithm, where you need to push it in a certain direction and where you need to allow it creative freedom in order to achieve the best results possible and for you to determine your own style when producing AI art. So spending a lot of time here is highly recommended. The second reason you'll find yourself using the website is to manage your subscription. So as a beginner, you receive a trial of 25 image generations, and once those are over, unfortunately you won't be able to use the MidJourney AI anymore. And then you would have to pick one of these two payment plans if you would like to continue having access to the MidJourney AI. There's two options. There's a basic membership and there's a standard membership. The main difference, apart from the price, is how many images each one can produce. So with the basic membership, you're able to produce up to 200 images per month, while with the standard one, you have unlimited personal use, meaning that if you're going to be using the algorithm every day, similar to myself, you'll probably need the standard membership, which costs $30 a month. The final reason for using the MidJourney website, which I'll cover in this video, is the help and frequently asked questions section. This is the MidJourney documentation, which is pretty much kind of the instruction manual for MidJourney AI, and it starts with a quick start guide, which we have already completed. It's mostly just explaining how variations work and so on and so forth, but assuming that you've watched this video throughout, you should be quite comfortable with it at this point in time. So if I were you, I would start with the user manual. The user manual is pretty much a dictionary of all the commands and how they work, and these commands are really going to allow you to step up your game using MidJourney AI. It teaches you how to use different resolutions, different styles, how to prioritize different prompts more than others, how to feed images that the MidJourney AI can use to create the images that you wanted to use or to create. So I highly recommend going through this and spend a few minutes reading, as this is a great place for really stepping up your game with MidJourney. The next thing which I wanted to show you is the terms of service, and under the terms of service we have copyright. Now, this is not legal advice, so please do come to the terms of service section and read this by yourself. But as of today's date, what I'm reading and I'm understanding from this website is that you own the rights to all the assets that you have created, all the images that you have created, but so does everybody else. So even though this is something that you have produced, it's basically free for anyone to use for any purpose, because the idea is that MidJourney AI uses these images to produce the next generation of images and learn from them and so on and so forth. And this marks the end of our full beginner's guide with MidJourney AI. I hope you found it useful, and I hope I went into enough detail to make your journey with MidJourney a little bit easier to start. If you enjoyed this video, I don't need to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Do give the thumbs up. Do subscribe, as I'll be putting out more content in the same direction. I'll be exploring different ideas, and I'll be going in depth into specific commands and how changing little details within those commands are going to impact the end result of an image. So for example, I'm planning to create a video where I just play around with style and I execute the exact same prompt with different styles, and that's going to show you the little variations that MidJourney AI has when you play around with the commands. But with that being said, thank you very much for watching if you're still here, and I'll see you in the next one.